This is the March 9th meeting of the Village of Millbrook Board of Trustees. Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance. Afterwards, please remain standing for a moment of silence. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Just this past week, we had a resident of the Village of Millbrook who passed away, Frank Viacava, who was a long-term member of the fire department. Matt, you want to say a few words?
Frank joined in 1974. He served as a second assistant chief from 1988 to 1990.
All right, so please a moment of silence for Frank. Thank you. Please be seated. Okay, as you see, we've got a different format again. This time, we're going to try to project the charts. Hopefully you all can see them. And the charts are also loaded on the website for those who are at home and want to see them on their laptop or computer. And so let's start with the roll call of trustees. Sarah.
Mayor Colopy?
Here.
Deputy Mayor Contino?
Here.
Trustee Herzog is absent. Trustee Arbogast?
Here.
Trustee Doro?
Here.
Okay, thanks. Here's the agenda we're going to go through. I don't see a here yet. And also Bob says he's out shoveling snow. He may or may not be able to make it, so we'll just play it by ear as far as whether we can or cannot make it to the meeting. One comment I wanted to make is kind of a congratulations to Jason Saya. I was hoping Mike Herzog would be here to announce this, but Jason Saya was just elected to the rank of Eagle Scout in the Boy Scouts. It was a significant accomplishment by one of the members of the Boy Scout troop of Millbrook. So congratulations to him. I'll also recognize him with a letter of congratulations and also mention him in the upcoming newsletter. So he joins the ranks, which includes one of our trustees. Peter Doro is also an Eagle Scout from many, many years ago, but continued a long tradition of Millbrook Boy Scouts achieving the ultimate rank of Eagle Scout. So congratulations to him.
I'm sure it's not many years ago.
Huh? Many, many years ago. Ian, good evening. Okay, first thing on the agenda is the vouchers.
Sure.
So just this afternoon, we sent out the summary of vouchers. I don't know if the trustees had a chance to look at them yet. If not, the details will be in your email. You can look at them, or you can come into the office and review and sign them off. I have a couple of questions I'll follow up with the front office tomorrow, but if you go through it, you can see that one of the most significant payments this month is $30,000 to the town of Washington for the salt. And that's one of our, I think, 2 payments for the year, right?
Correct.
For salt. There's very serious salt usage winter for us. And so that's in the vouchers for this month. So the totals are listed here on the screen. The general fund, $104,000. The water fund, almost $19,000. And the sewer fund, almost $17,000, for a total of $140,000. Can I get a motion to accept the vouchers?
Full motion.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, thank you. I've skipped past the minutes. Sarah, you're supposed to correct me when I do that kind of stuff.
I was waiting for the opportunity.
Oh, you were? Okay.
Yes.
Okay, Sarah sent out the draft of the minutes from the last board meeting, which was on February 9th. Have the trustees had a chance to review that draft?
Yes.
Any questions or corrections to be made? Can I get a motion to accept the minutes?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you. We'll accept the minutes as drafted by Sarah.
What about the budget minutes? Is everyone good with?
Oh, you want to do that now, or you do it at the budget meeting? We can do it now. So have you all seen them? She submitted the minutes from the first 2 budget meetings, the one with the water and sewer, and the second draft of minutes from the fire and rescue and the highway.
Yes.
Have you had a chance to review those yet?
Yes.
Any questions or comments or corrections?
No.
Can I get a motion to accept those minutes? together?
So moved.
And a second?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
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 Thank you.
Thank you, Sarah, for putting those drafts on the website and reminding me to get those reviewed and approved. Okay, we'll go straight on to the standard agenda, and Ted and Matt, you guys are up.
Legislator Houston sends her regrets. She says she's fighting off a cold, so she won't make it tonight.
Thank her for not coming when she has a cold. That's a very good move for her, on her part. We appreciate that.
Okay, month of February, a little lower on call volume. It is a shorter month, obviously. 62 total incidents, 12 automatic alarms, 3 motor vehicle accidents, 38 EMS calls, 1 vehicle fire, 2 structure fires, 2 good intent calls, 1 public assist, 2 wire down / electrical condition, and 1 flooding condition. The NDP paid unit went 41 times. The volunteer ambulance was spotted twice. We went mutual aid elsewhere twice for fire and twice for EMS, and we had mutual aid come here once for fire and twice for EMS.
How's that mutually compared to past months?
The mutual aid EMS is down, going out for EMS. I had 2 conversations with Chief Schmoke down in Unionville in the last week or so. We're both very happy with the way that their changes have taken shape with the extra Empress unit that is on shift now when their daytime unit is off. The last 2 months we've had 4 responses to Unionville, which is a dramatic improvement over what we were seeing prior to the first of the year.
Okay,
So tentatively, that's going very well.
so first data point is
And,
positive.
We'll continue to monitor, but I'm very happy.
And
with it so far.
recognizes the history of this, where we've been complaining about the amount of mutual aid we're sending out versus coming into the village.
Right.
And one of the actions taken by Unionville was to extend their paid service to 7 by 12 during the days. And we expected to see some improvement, but based on this first data point, I guess we're seeing what happened. What's the chief's name again?
Steve Schmoke,
Can you spell his last name?
SCHMOKE.
He wasn't at the meeting we had, right?
Not the one we had here, no.
No, okay.
You guys have another one scheduled for April, I believe?
Something like either April or May,
Yeah,
yeah.
he
I
said
said I
he's
wanted to
hoping
get like 3 months worth of data.
He said he's hoping to be here for that.
Okay, good.
That's great.
When I looked at when I just went through the 911 calls, I saw there was just, one just popped up today from Pleasant Valley. I saw 1 Pleasant Valley and I think 1 or 2 Unionville.
Yeah, 2 for February.
Actually, I think one of the Unionvilles was like January 31st or something.
Yeah,
So maybe-
the two for February were Unionville, and there were 2 in January.
Okay,
And I
fine.
believe, I wanna say there was 1 in Pleasant Valley for January and 1 in Stanford.
All right.
So we've gone total of 5 or 6 since the beginning of the year.
All right, so if I
But
get
the
back
Unionville
to,
ones are way down.
so if I get back to Betsy Moss.
Loss.
So for January, I should say we gave to them, Unionville, how much mutual aid, how much did we receive from them?
4 times since the first of the year.
4 times since the first of the year.
Twice in January, twice in February. As I say, that's about a, 400% reduction. It's very encouraging.
All right, good. All right. Now, I'd ask if you could pull for me to look at the 911 calls, the response times. Are you able to do that?
I meant to ask if I was gonna call you about that. So you were looking for, what period of time?
From the time the call goes out from the 911 center to the time that the EMS arrives on the scene.
Okay,
Can you provide that?
I can, with a reasonable degree of accuracy, yeah.
Okay, good. And like for all of the last year?
Okay,
I'd like to just do it my own, just get the raw data, and
Yep.
I'll do my own massaging,
okay.
just to get a feel for how, what kind of average times we're running.
Okay.
All right?
Yep.
Good. Just want to clarify, the old ambulance was sold for $79,000.
Correct,
And the agreement was we were going to put that money into the reserve for the apparatus,
correct.
right? Okay, so we've actually received the check, I think, Sarah.
Yep.
And we were in the process of putting it in there. So that's money that's for the reserve, it's not to be used for anything else,
That's it now,
right?
correct.
Even EMS things like that, goes in the reserve for the apparatus. Right?
Yes.
Okay, good. Any questions for Matt regarding the fire and rescue report?
Ted, do you mean?
I'm sorry, for Ted.
That's fine.
I jumped my head myself. For Ted, anybody in the audience?
He's one there.
Okay, Matt.
I have nothing.
Okay.
We have the opening tomorrow for the bids for the roof, right?
Correct. What
Any-
time is that
What's
gonna
that?
be?
Yes. I think 2:30?
Yeah, 2:30 I think is what I wrote down.
Yeah. I
And actually, it was
think
2:30 before, we just moved it to tomorrow.
Can you make it to 3? Is that possible?
well, that's what the advertisement said, I believe.
Yeah, that's gonna like the
Okay.
bid.
I have to
finale.
look. Yeah.
We can try it. Sarah can do a song and dance. 'cause
I
it's about
actually have
15
two of,
minutes.
I got 2 of them in the mail in our fire department mailbox.
Oh, really?
They're downstairs.
Okay.
So can we get those from you tonight?
Yep. It's from the same guys or same company.
What does that mean, two from the same company?
I got one yesterday. I got the bid thing in an envelope yesterday, and then I got another thing in the mail today from the same company.
That's 2 bids?
I didn't open them. I
All
don't
right,
know.
fine, don't open it, that's true. Yeah, don't do that. Okay, I've got 2:30. All right, so you give those to us and we'll, so come by anyway when you get off work, not till 3.
2:30.
Yeah, okay.
I'll try to.
I
So,
mean,
we'll-
all we're doing is basically opening and recording, and then Ed Lodi's office will then review and make sure that they're to spec, so it's not.
yeah,
like
there's no
we're-
discussion, no questioning about the bids. We just say, here's the company, here's how much the bid is, and we record it.
Okay.
And then we'll go back to you guys and Ed
Correct.
as far as reviewing, make sure it meets the criteria, and decide based on that which one we'll accept.
Okay.
All right, so there's no acceptance tomorrow. Blinds, the lights. All right, so you're still working on the resolution of the cost, and then how you're gonna fund the replacement of blinds and the replacement of the windows, right?
No, I thought the blinds was coming out of this year's budget.
Oh, that's right, that does, you're right, that fits. And you're gonna find out how much it's gonna cost, and then know how much is left over that you can use to spend current year's budget for the windows, resulting in how much we need to expend for next year's budget.
Correct.
Finish the windows, okay. When do you think you'll have those numbers?
Well, I already received one quote from a company, and Buffy forwarded me some places to go, and I have another meeting Wednesday, the 16th. It's the only time that they're booked.
Okay, so roughly when does that mean you'll have a game plan?
Hopefully end of the month.
Hopefully, end of next 2 weeks.
Okay, by the end of March?
Oh yeah,
Okay, good. We're on a path to try to close the budget by mid-April. We'd like to be able to roll it all together by the end of this month. All
okay.
right, so if you can meet that, that'd be a big help. Okay? Good. All right, any more questions for the fire guys? Thanks. Okay, Officer Witt,
Yeah, where do you want me
why
to?
don't you come towards the front just so you can be on camera? Like either next to Ted or the chair in the corner there. So first of all, I want to announce that Officer in Charge Witt has passed his sergeant's test. So congratulations for that. Nice job. It's a good feather in your cap for future promotions and future job opportunities. So well done.
Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, put the chart up.
Up there you'd see the incidents we have for February 2022. Like Ted said, it's a short month, so the numbers are just a little bit smaller than usual. Traffic tickets 6, parking tickets 8, property damage auto accidents 4, road hazards 1, disabled vehicles 3 disabled vehicles, 2 vehicle and traffic complaints, and 1 traffic detail that was to help out Scott and the gang on 9 Partners Lane.
Oh, for a water break. Yeah, okay, you're right.
Yeah, and then we were further assisted by the highway department on that.
Okay.
We assisted state police 6 times, sheriff's office twice, fire department 7, and EMS 16 times. 2 court details, and I believe 5. I believe those are all basketball games for the school district.
Okay.
For police activity, we had 4 domestics, 1 larceny, 1 harassment, and 1 order of protection that was issued. Public service, two suspicious activities, 1 mental health call, 4 burglar alarms, 1 property incident, 3 foils, 1 welfare check, 6 lockouts, 1 of which was residential and not a vehicle, 1 911 misdial. We did 2 property checks, 1 which was Village Hall with the unsecured damaged door at the back. 14 school checks, 2 additional foot patrols above and beyond what we normally do, and 1 assist citizen. Officer Ricci is in the process of everything. He has all his paperwork. He's getting all his information back to me or Sarah, either one. The issue we're running into now is some of the equipment he needs is back ordered. Like, I can't get him a winter coat until May. So,
Probably better price then.
yeah. I do believe we have some stuff kicking around. We should be able to piece them together and get them on the road. As those things trickle in, we'll replace it with the new stuff.
Okay.
But we should have enough to get them on the road here within the next 2 weeks.
2 weeks? Okay.
Yeah.
I got it. So his name is Richie or is it Ricci? It's R-I-C-C-I, right?
Yeah,
Ricci.
Is it Richie?
Ricci.
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 Yeah.
Like there's an H in it.
I don't know.
Ricci. Okay.
R-I-C-C-I
Yeah, that's
is
how you
Ricci.
pronounce it.
All right, fine. Okay, good. So within a couple weeks, you think you can go on the road?
Correct.
All right, good.
The new car is out at Nicomco currently. We're having some issues. Something's tripping with the electrical, with the emergency lighting system. They've been out here 3 times to fix it. So Officer Naughton and I dropped it off this afternoon and told them don't return it until the problem's fixed. Like
Where's it at?
Nicomco or Hudson Valley Emergency Lighting, the ones who installed it.
All right.
Because we keep treating the symptom and not the cause. So I don't know when that'll be back in service, but we dropped it off today.
Okay. Is it under warranty still or not?
Depends on what the problem is. If it's, if it was installation error, then I'm going to argue that with them.
Okay.
If it's, if it's something else, wear and tear or something, then, wear and tear short in it, possibly.
Yeah.
We haven't had the car but since July,
Mm-hmm.
so I can't imagine there's enough wear and tear on it
I
for
would
it
say
to
if it was
be
wear and tear, then something wasn't installed correctly.
correct.
You know?
So I think
Okay.
that's something you and I may have to dive into with them.
I'm happy to go with you. Let me know.
Absolutely. That's all I have. Any questions, comments, concerns? I didn't know if we wanted to dive into our stuff. I know it's further down, but
No, you can say it.
I believe I met with Trustee Contino and Arbogast for I believe is almost our final time on the parking and traffic
Good.
code. I believe all we have left to do is really Bob and myself to go out and kind of really map out the no parking, the red and yellow curbing in the village to
All right.
get that updated.
I think we should have a first round. I think this is going to be an incredible piece of work that you're all working on here. This is really complicated stuff.
We've made our way all the way through it. We need to meet one more time to
Definitely.
consolidate the notes and put them in a legible
right.
form. And
All I'm saying is, don't worry about dotting your I's and crossing your T's. To get the first draft out to us so we can start looking at something, because I know you've done an incredible amount of work here. And there's a lot that needs to be done, so I really
Yeah.
appreciate the effort. But it's going to take us a while to get it to the point where you're in a final form.
correct.
So I'd like to see a draft of it when you're ready for that,
Right.
before you're completely done with it. All right?
Yes, sir.
All right, good.
I think that'll be probably a little after the budget.
Well, that's perfect.
I mean,
That's perfect.
I have no problem pausing for the budget.
Yeah, that's a good idea. We definitely want to clear water and sewers change out. Hopefully we can do that tonight. And then after the budget, then let's talk about it again. I really appreciate all the work y'all been doing to it. It's really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Any other comments, questions?
The speed signs. So we told them no, but we put the order in with the company, and they basically never came forward with anything even remote towards recognition of an interest in trying to satisfy the order we gave them. So we told them, we
Just cancel our
yeah,
order.
we canceled the order, right. So the concept though is still a good one. I think you brought forward the concept maybe a year or so ago.
Mhm.
Is there any other vendor we could pursue to look for some automatic, speed signs, mobile speed signs we can put around.
I
the
mean,
building.
we can look into it. I didn't look into it terribly,
Well, you got a flyer in the
these
mail.
the mailers come and show up in my mailbox.
Yeah. You haven't received any others from any other kind of companies?
Not that I've seen, no.
All right.
But, we may be able to contact the sheriff's office, see where they get theirs.
Could you do that?
kind of thing, yeah.
I mean, I don't want the big, like the things on the trailer that they have, but the idea you had before was really a great one, which is mounted on a telephone pole or something.
Yeah.
And you can move it around.
Well, the reason we liked that one company is because it was gonna provide some data collection also,
Yeah,
so that we could,
Right.
further target, dedicated patrols to problem areas in the village.
And address concerns people are raising about, how much of a problem there is, So it's a really great idea. It's just sad that the company just fell on their face on this thing.
Well, like I said, we use them down at my part-time job in Orange County, and they're fantastic.
Same company?
Same company,
Oh, jeez.
same size, and that's why, I was able to speak with some certainty about how their operations, because we use them down, we have, I think, 3 of them down there,
Huh.
2 or 3 of them.
So they didn't even give supply chain or anything as an excuse? Nothing.
No, he just kept saying, "Oh, I'll send out the order, and I'll send you an email," and then months go by, nothing. So, yeah, no.
Maybe there's, cities bigger than us that have got, 10 times the demand or something. I don't know what the rationale is.
Well, they were offering a 2-pack at a price, so we
Well,
said, give
that's
us
what
a
the
2-pack.
flyer said. It wasn't like we were getting a special deal, right? That's what the flyer
Yeah.
said. Okay, anyway, that's not related. Okay. All right, no questions for Officer Witt. Thank you very much. All right, Bob's not here yet. Let's just go through the things he's got quickly. If he shows up, he can give us a snow update, but he may not show. Okay, first one is that tree that fell across 8th Avenue right there at the junction of Maple at the bend at the top of the hill. Based on that limb falling down, we had some experts come out and look at it, and they said the tree's hollow, we're going to take the whole tree down, so Aldo Lip did that for us. And they'll come back later and grind up the stump. That's number 2, remove the rest of the rotten tree. Put up some new Tree City signs, just because we got the information from the, for Arbor Day, we got the Tree City stuff. All right, good, so we updated our signs, because we're now, 30 years?
30 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
As a Tree City USA. Started clearing storm drains. Took out the Christmas tree poles because the ground thawed enough. Did a repair of a catch basin. Did an in-house repair of the sander, the 2011 sander. Did a drainage ditch in Bennett and Exmoor. Oh, okay. Didn't know that. 4 snow events. Total of 16 inches. Not a lot of snow per, but we just have had a lot of events this winter. Did some pothole repairs. Did the budget. Repaired a broken manhole cover. Picked up the tree limbs and repaired the catch basin. Did Jared leave? Any questions about Bob's report?
Yeah,
Good,
the one-
I can answer you.
The one thing I was gonna ask him is what's happening on Merritt Avenue, because I feel like we pretty recently paved
Yeah, we
it,
did. It was just an eruption.
but that does not seem,
No. Well, let's wait until the spring comes when it settles down and you see what's going on, and then you can dig it up. And right now it's just got those cones out there to slow down. But yeah, you're right. We just had to pay a few years ago.
because I think their response was, because it's been so cold, but then both of roads would be
I mean,
exploded.
the idea is that if the road is sealed, water's not supposed to get underneath it and freeze and cause those kind of things.
So we pave and then do we seal a few years later?
A few years later, yeah. Well, like he was talking at the budget meeting, he will seal the cracks.
Right.
So then after that, he'll do a oil and stone layer, which is a good way to put another ceiling on it. But this one is too young to have either of those things done. So, just one of those things. I mean, it's been a bad winter. You can look just on Franklin. Outside my front door, you see that there were some eruptions going on there. So, it's hard to prevent, I guess. So, one thing I wanted to bring up was this issue that Matt raised regarding the allocation of the fuel. And so Nicole did an analysis, and reviewed it with Bob. And I did talk to Jared before the meeting, so that's why I was hoping to be here just to confirm that fact. So the story is that she was using allocations as following. First off, diesel, 33% is allocated to the fire department, 67% to the highway. And they reviewed the logs and that looked consistent with what we're actually using. And you're welcome to check those logs yourself. If you don't want to verify that. But based on Nicole and Bob looking at the recent, this goes from, I think, November to March, I think it was, they were telling me was the data, right?
I believe so, yeah.
Yeah. So like 5 months worth of data. And they said that the 33% for the fire department, 67% for highway was legit. And they were going to keep those numbers.
That's about what I would
Think
expect.
so? On the gas, though, she was allocating 25% to the fire, 12.5% to highway, 62.5% to police. The actual data for those months that they looked at, was 7% to the fire, 4% to highway, and 89% to the police. So I talked to Jerry, he's okay with making those changes, and we'll do that effective starting now. All right? So we're not going to go back, we'll do that going forward. And on a regular basis, Nicole will get with Bob to have him update her on the allocation, the usage, based on what's going on out at the tanks.
There's an actual meter for gas.
Right, and there's
So
keys.
it's very easy to just read those 2 meters.
And that's what he'll do, yeah. He did that just to verify, update these numbers. And he'll do that in the future on a regular basis, not every month, it's every 3 months or so.
Right.
All right? So that addresses the concern Matt brought into the budget meeting. You okay with that? And again, you're welcome to look at the numbers yourself. Okay. If you want to just question the numbers or verify the numbers yourself, but that's what they've got. And they will make those updates. All right? So thanks for bringing that to our attention. It was something I wasn't aware of was an issue, and certainly we now know a better way to process that. Okay? All right, Scott, let's move on. Oh, here's the rotten tree.
Face it every day.
Now there's the center of the trunk of the tree that when they took it down. Which begs the question, how on earth did it stay up that long? Okay, Scott.
All right. For February, the water system produced 5,065,637 gallons. Average daily flow was 180,916 gallons. Performed all maintenance and sampling. Had a water main break on 9 Partners Lane that's been repaired. Service line leak on North Avenue was repaired by the owner. I met with the contractor out at the Bennett site to discuss the demolition of the buildings and any infrastructure that's there. They also requested a second hydrant meter because of the work to demolish Halcyon Hall. We purchased that and we are charging them a rental fee as well as meter usage.
Mhm.
They're supposed to be doing that, I think, starting next week.
The demo of the main hall?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, that's what George Whalen told me. Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Milnes replaced the defective check valve for pump 2 at the water plant.
Was that under warranty?
Yes.
Good.
Yep.
Okay.
We were just waiting, like everything else, for that to come in. So once they came in, they came right up and took care of that.
All right.
And prepared the budget for the water system.
Any questions for Scott regarding the water? All right, and here's your graphic. That's usage per month going back, what, 2 years?
Yeah.
All right, well into the permitted flow. On the sewer.
All right. Now the sewer plant for February. Total effluent flow was 4,430,575 gallons. Average daily flow was 158,200. 4 inches of precipitation. Performed all maintenance and sampling. We began some flow monitoring for Bennett Pump Station. Worked on the collection system operation and maintenance manual for the EPA. We just got notice today that the order has been lifted because we had submitted that. I submitted it last week, but So it'll be a next month's report, but
Congratulations on that, well done.
thanks. So that's off our plate.
Yeah.
And we also prepared the budget for the sewer.
Any questions about the sewer report? Here's the monthly report, here's the monthly data. That's all I got for Scott. No questions for Scott?
Scott, I did want to tell you that I think in today's mail we got the Dutchess County
Permit.
permit,
All right.
so it's in your mailbox for water.
I'll stop by and pick it up.
Yep.
Perfect.
All right, you're gonna stick around for the
Oh yeah. Yeah.
public hearing, right? Okay, good. All right, thanks. Okay, Clerk Witt.
Am I okay here? Yeah, we're okay. Okay. So you all should have gotten the operating statement, as per usual. We have a resolution for so we have a bedrock account that is now, the project's completed, so we want to change that into our water reserve. And then, the resolution will also authorize me to open an account for the sewer reserve. So last year, we did approve having water and sewer reserves during budget time. So now we're actually going to implement them for this budget.
So specifically, we had $10,000 we set aside for the water reserve.
Yeah.
And $22,000 for the sewer. Okay. So what you're proposing is, and what the resolution is going to say is, we've got money left over in the bedrock well account. We're going to move that over to the water reserve. Okay, that's what the resolution is going to do. We'll go through that at the end of your presentation.
Yep.
Okay.
Yep. And then we did we received the first half of the fire contract money from the town, which is good. And then just working on budget, and we've got 2 budget meetings down, and seems like 200 more to go. But we're moving right along there, and it's I think it's a smooth process so far. And then we have the roof replacement bids will be opening on tomorrow at 2:30. So for our top 4 accounts, that should be February, not January. I don't know.
Okay.
I do that all the time.
Let's take it up here.
So for ending in February 28th, for a tax account, $241,058.11. General fund, $305, $548,554.54. Water fund, $80,011.76, and sewer fund, $97,610.30. So that's all I have for treasurer.
So the general fund, the reason for the big deposit is because we got half of the payment from the town.
Yep.
For the fire and rescue budget, and the other half will come this month.
Correct.
If you looked at the operating statement, can I pull it up now or not? Maybe we should list that. But anyway, if you look at the operating statement, you'll see that for total the revenue that we have accrued to date, including the second payment from the town, puts us within $10,000 of our revenue goal for the year. So we're in relatively good shape as far as revenue.
Yeah.
Know that we are reporting now through February, with 3 months to go. So that means 3/4 of the year is done. 3 months to go. All right. So with 3 months to go, we basically have achieved the revenue budget we put in place. And as far as the expenses, you'll see that we are pretty much on track. We have, with three months to go, 25% of the budget is yet to be spent. So barring any significant unexpected expenses, we should be on target to make the budget for the year. All right. And that detail is in there, the operating expense report. I'd recommend you all look at that detail. Any questions you've got, please let me know. All right. When I looked at it, I had a couple of questions, but they weren't significant. The thing that stuck out, as I said before, was the salt bill we paid to the town, $30,000.
Yep.
Any questions about the financial report? Okay.
All right. And building department, kind of slow February. We had 1 building permit issued and 5 certificate of occupancies, 2 certificate of compliances, and 3 municipal searches. Total fees collected was $1,540, and most of that is just because the checks cleared from the previous month's building permits. We don't charge that much, but so that's that fee. Planning board, I've gotten no updates, and I still am not sure about Tim Kapowski. He did not reply to my email, so.
Yes, but I talked to Andy Doro, and he still has to close with Tim. He feels quite confident Tim's not going to continue on the board.
Yeah, it didn't seem like it, but.
And I did tell Andy that my neighbor expressed interest, and so I said to Andy, as soon as you're ready to ask for, candidates, I'll put you in touch with you.
Sounds good.
So I'm waiting for Andy to get back to me. All right. Where is the resolution? Can we go over that now?
Yeah.
Where would I go to get that?
It's probably with the attachments, but I have a hard copy.
Can I just go to the?
You should be able to go.
It's a PDF. Let's see if it shows. Whoops! What's going on here?
I think it's slow to catch up.
Hmm?
I think it's just slow to catch up, maybe.
Oh, you think so?
Maybe.
I shouldn't have messed with it.
You want to just read the paper version?
Yeah. I guess we will. I've got a copy
Oh, you
of it
do?
myself, yeah. So do y'all have a copy of it in front of you?
Well, it was supposed
Ian, do
to,
you have a copy?
it was supposed to be on the
Resolution for the dedication of the water and sewer reserves.
That I don't.
Legally,
He doesn't need to? Okay.
I don't think so.
He doesn't need a copy, so we look at it.
Pretty.
Well, I'll read it. So, resolution number 2022-002, March 9th, 2022. At a duly convened meeting of the Village of Millbrook Board of Trustees, the board reviewed the following. Whereas a water treatment plant upgrade, also known as bedrock, has been completed, with remaining balance in the bedrock well account of $9,778.44. Whereas the board approved in the sewer reserve account to be established at a meeting on March 8th, 2022. Therefore, be it resolved, the board authorizes the treasurer to rename the bank account from bedrock well account to water reserve and keep the amount of $9,978.44 to go towards the water reserve and to open a sewer reserve account. Can I get a motion to make this resolution?
So moved.
In a second?
Second.
All's in favor? Oh, I know, we got to do a vote thing, that's right.
Mayor Coffey,
Aye.
Deputy Mayor Contino,
Aye.
Trustee Herzog's absent. Trustee Arbogast.
Aye.
Trustee Doro.
Aye.
Alrighty.
Okay,
Of
thanks.
course.
And then later time, we'll make a move of the water, of the money from the sewer budget over to this reserve.
Yep.
To fund that.
Yep.
Okay, good. All right. Let's just go through what I got here on the agenda of business. So the code update status. So we talked about vehicle and traffic. Officer Eric took us through that. Just to let you know that I got a request from Dutchess County. They have 74,000 test kits in stock and thousands of masks. So they begged the municipalities to take more. So I agreed to take 500 test kits and 1,000 masks and pick them up tomorrow and put them upstairs in the village hall for whenever we might need them in the future. Okay, just FYI. Turkey
Like an
vault.
umbrella.
I'm sorry?
It's like an umbrella. If you have them.
It's
you
like an
won't
insurance
need
policy, that's right. That's fine with me. Turkey vultures. So as I reported earlier, a few months ago, businesses especially have been complaining about these turkey vultures, which are actually hanging around in these big evergreen trees, a lot of them right in the back of my house, and the neighbor's house next to me. But they evidently flock into the village early in the morning and land on the rooftops and in the trees break off a lot of branches and have been reported as having been pecking at the asphalt shingles and causing damage. I've got reports from the apartment across the street from where Judy Velletri is, between Jay McLaughlin's and one of the stores there. There's a small apartment there. I got a report from the St. Joseph's Church has a concern with them hanging around their chimney, and also from the laundromat down there on Merritt. And so that's why I had an official from USDA come today to do a tour of the area and make some recommendations. And so what he did was he said the following: difficult problem, the turkey vultures and the black vultures, they could be either of them, he recommended, he suspects both of them are here, are protected species and migratory, which means this time of the year they're not as predominant, which is true, although I told him I still see them swooping around the evergreens in the back of my house like in the evening, so they're still here. But he said mitigation is keep the trash cans closed, keep the dumpster lids closed. They can put a program in place to mitigate with techniques they described as the following. One is to hang dead vultures from trees in the area, that scares them away, and to use green laser lights and shine them at the vultures to get them to move. And he says that those are difficult programs to implement. It takes time and money. The USDA would do it at cost to the village. It's not free. And he can't guarantee that once they did it, they wouldn't come back. So what he recommended we do is gather data from the businesses. When do you see them? How many do you see? What kind of damage are they doing over the next couple of months? And then we meet again with them to say, here's the problem. What can we do about it? Do you think you can fix it? One of the caveats he gave me is, when he said we can hang dead vultures from the trees, is that if they're on the roofs, the trees are on the main, on Franklin. But he said they may not be scared when they're on the roof by the vultures that are in the trees, so it may not work. So not a lot of science there. I was hoping the solution was something like I take a shotgun and I call the deer like they do at Vassar College, but he says you can't do that. So I'm kind of stuck between a rock and a hard place. And I'll follow up with Kevin. I was hoping he would show up for the meeting tonight, but I'll talk to the MBA. Maybe you can help pass the word for me.
Okay.
I'll put it in the newsletter as well. But what I would like to have is first a request that anyone who's got trash cans, dumpsters, that they're extra diligent in keeping the lids closed. And for those who are having problems, that they let me know somehow or another. Call the office, send me an email, make a phone call, whatever. Just so we can gather some data and determine the extent of the problem. He says, by the way, this time of the year, he expects the problem to reduce because they have gone into wherever they go in the winter. And I confirm that just because I see a lot fewer of them than I usually do, like in the summer. Okay. So that's the story we've got, and we'll follow up with gathering data. Any questions or comments?
Part of the reason they're protected is because they eat trash. And so I really do think the emphasis should be on keeping those dumpsters and trash cans closed. I don't know if they dive into the trash baskets. I don't really see that on Franklin.
I don't know, we're
open.
very,
No.
we're crazy about our trash can. I mean, we keep it
I know
closed
you
and
do, yeah.
all kinds of stuff to keep away the flies.
I've seen them back at Stewart's.
It's
That's
at
where I see
Stewart's.
them.
I see them in the morning on Stewart's and the Chinese food, their roof line over there.
Yeah.
I actually saw some in my neighbor's yard the other day on the side of her yard when I was looking out my window, which was the first time that I
Which ways? Up or down?
down.
Down, really?
Yeah, that was the first time. It was 3. I was like,
Yeah.
what is that?
Yeah.
My little dog was out. I was like, oh, that's.
There was a dead one in my yard last, in the
I
spring.
was thinking that was dead.
We had a dead one that was on the Stewart down there by Stewart's.
But they
That was
really
the first time.
congregate because of all those dumpsters back there, so.
Yeah, and roadkill. And he said that's a chronic issue too, that they really go for roadkill.
But not so much on Franklin.
You try to put it as a positive. They're good for cleaning up your roadkill. Which is probably true, but anyway. Okay.
Well, I would just try to focus on, the
Yeah.
human contribution to this problem.
Yeah, what we need to restrict their access to garbage would be a help.
Yeah.
All right, so Buffy, can you take a message to the
Yes,
EDA?
I will be happy to. I'll
Okay,
do it
good, appreciate
tomorrow.
that.
I'll email Kevin and I can have Amy send out an email to the business owners in the village on our constant contact and
All right, good.
asking them to do their due diligence as far as keeping their trash cans, maintained and closed and so forth.
And I gotta check, I think I may have to talk to Welsh Sanitation, because I think when they empty those dumpsters back there, in the back of Stewart's, I think the way the truck empties puts the dumpster back on, the lid doesn't always come up closed.
Oh, yeah.
So, I think I'll call Scott there, Scott, I forget what his name is, at Welsh, and ask if they can be extra diligent and make sure that they do that. When they drop the dumpster back down, that the lid's on closed.
Yeah, because when they do our straight garbage cans, the lid falls.
Falls back on?
Right.
Yeah, okay.
But I don't
I
know.
mean, it's not a problem because the thing is empty. It's just easier for the people who come and dump trash into it. Or the dumpster lid's open, just throw it in there and walk
Right,
away.
right.
If it was closed, you gotta open it and then put it back together. So, anyway, okay. All right, so that's the story with the turkey vultures. All right, can we go to the code update now for the change to chapter 180 sewer and water? So Ian, can you lead us through this?
Yeah.
So again, I can't show the screen version, so we've all got copies,
Yes,
including the secret.
yes.
So the first thing the board needs to do is open the public hearing
Okay,
and hold the public hearing once that's
so we do that before we do the secret.
public hearing, seeker, and then enact or adopt the resolution.
All right, so I'd like to make a motion that we open the public hearing for the review of the resolution to update chapter 180, the village code. Can I get a second?
Second.
All those in favor? Aye. The public hearing is now open. Any comments from the public regarding this change we're making to chapter 180? Okay, with no comments, then I'd like to make a motion that we close the public hearing. I think we just opened. Any second to that?
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. All right, thank you. The public hearing is now closed.
So then the next thing to do is your environmental review. I sent Sarah parts 1, 2, and 3 of a environmental assessment form.
Okay.
I realized before I came here, I printed them out. The part 1 that I sent was part 1 for a different, previous amendment to the village code. That
Oh, the
we've
investment
done.
policy.
So I made the changes by hand.
Okay.
The rest of it does not need to be changed other than the date on part 1. Part 2 and 3 are fine, but I apologize for that. I'm not sure what happened.
Well, why can't we have your handwritten
You can.
comment and I'll sign that?
So what I would suggest is, and I mentioned this in my email, arguably this is a type 2 action under seeker, which would not require any environmental review. But because you're enacting provisions of your code that contain regulations that may need to be enforced in the future, my recommendation is to go through the exercise of seeker because, as I mentioned in the email, if you don't have to do seeker and you do it, it's inconsequential. If you do have to do seeker but you don't do it, it could potentially invalidate the legislation.
I never thought of that, but that's why you make the big bucks, so good.
So, this is an unlisted action, or would be an unlisted action under seeker. I completed parts 2 and 3. If you look at part 2, it just contains a list of questions. There's no expected or anticipated adverse environmental impacts from this action, which is the enactment of this local law. And then in part 3, is a determination of significance. I just basically state that this action, the amendments to Chapter 180 of the Village Code do not create any new programs or involve any major reordering of priorities. It's limited to amending the regulations pretty much that already exist now, and therefore there's not expected to be any adverse environmental impact. And so by motion, I would just recommend that the board issue a negative declaration, which means that there is not expected to be any adverse environmental impact. And
All right, so let's stop there. Let's do that then. So any
Yeah.
questions about the seeker form and we're planning to do that? All right, so then just by motion?
just by
So I'll make a motion that we accept the negative declaration, this change. Can you get a second?
A second.
And all those in favor?
Aye.
Aye? Okay, good.
And then there's a place for the mayor to sign.
I see that.
Part 1 and Part 3. I'll give you the copy to do that.
Yep.
And then the next thing to do would be to enact or adopt the resolution enacting the local law, which is amending Chapter 180 of the Village Code entitled Sewers and Water. This is a local law amending Chapter 180 of the Village Code entitled Sewers and Water to update the existing provisions of that chapter and introduce a new separate article entitled Water. And everyone should have a copy of that. It would take a significant period of time to read. It's
No,
several
this is what we sent out last month.
pages.
So basically, it's just officially documenting what we already reviewed.
Correct. So
Any
all
questions or comments about these updates to the code? This basically is replacing Chapter 180 with this new documentation.
which, again, and it's spelled out in the intent of the local law, that it's amending, currently Chapter 180 contains 3 articles, 1, 2, and 3. What this local law does is it amends those provisions that already exist, and then it introduces a new provision, a new chapter entitled, or a new article rather, entitled Water, and rearranges the numbers of the existing articles.
All right, so can I just read through the first paragraph and then go to the
Sure,
paragraph
that's
again?
fine.
So the meeting of the Village Board of Trustees, the Village of Millbrook, over the Village Firehouse, 21st Street, Millbrook, New York, on the 9th day of March 2022 at 6 p.m. Village Mayor Tim Colby called the meeting to order, and Deputy Trustee Cantina made a motion,
Yes.
seconded by Trustee
Second.
Arbogast. Move the following resolution to enact the following local law, known as Local Law Number 1 of 2022, entitled a local law amending Chapter 180 of the Village Code, entitled Sewers and Water, to update the existing provisions of that chapter and introduce a new separate article of that chapter entitled Water. And as follows, which is what you've just gone through, Ian.
Correct. So you.
I'm going to go then to the back page.
Correct.
Section 6. Okay, this local law shall take effect as of the date of filing with the New York Secretary of State. The foregoing resolution was duly put to a vote, which resulted as follows.
Mayor Colby,
Aye.
Trustee Herzog absent, Trustee Contino,
Aye.
Trustee Arbogast,
Aye.
Trustee Doral.
Are we done?
You're done. So the
All right, congratulations. And
Resolution's
again, nice
adopted.
piece of work, Scott. I know you and Mike and Leslie did a lot of work on that. I really appreciate all the work you put into it. It's been a long haul, but it's been very worthwhile. We're in the 21st century now, as far as the code.
It's a good thing.
That's one chapter down, 44 to go. No, not that bad, but we'll see that one. Thank you, Ian.
So I'll.
Oh, yeah,
I
I'm
can
going to
give
sign that
you-
now, just so it's
Yeah.
official and you don't leave anything to be. Meanwhile, Deputy Mayor, continue, can you talk about the FEMA request?
I can. So we've identified a grant opportunity at the Federal Emergency
last page.
Management Agency, which I guess everybody knows is FEMA. for the funding of the replacement of our sewer pump house and a generator at Bennett Commons. We're working with our consultants, Delaware Engineering and BRI, of course, as we are gathering a lot of information we really have to drill down to the details that would be needed to make the case, because this is highly competitive, that this project is both important and urgent at this time. So we must apply by June 1st. Historically, as I said, this grant is very competitive, but if we are successful, we'll get 75% of the cost, up to 75% of the cost of the project. So to give you an example of some of the kinds of information that we need, Scott is putting together a service map for us to show us exactly the service area so that we can drill down and figure out which, not only who lives there, but also some of the facilities that are served, that would be served by this project, because we have to, among other things, make the case that how important the service is at this time, and to maintain without interruption. So we've been on webinars, we're reading lots and lots of documents. Sarah's been involved with this very closely. Tim has, and as I said, I know you have, and Delaware has. So it's a bit of an undertaking, but we're going to try our best.
So we have a plan A and plan B. Plan A is as much funding as we can from FEMA. I'm concerned just because of all the criteria they've got about the SDI, whatever that's called, those sort of things, which, we're not one of the poor communities that would be looking to get that kind of funding. So we have that as a plan A. But plan B is to go to the bank and get a loan to cover the cost of this. So Sarah, you want to talk to us about the status of that?
So I did solicit some banks, and we're just gonna say we're gonna wait, right?
Yeah. So just hear the story. So your request to the banks was to respond to us with different scenarios, right?
Correct. So
we have front up. We have a need for the remaining 120,000, I think, to fund the retaining wall.
Correct.
And 227,000 for the projected cost to replace the pump station and add a generator. Lump that together to a $400,000 loan request, just throwing some contingency there.
Right.
But we also said, can you also give us an estimated rate and term if we combine that with the two outstanding bans we have from the water filtration upgrade?
Right.
We have a ban for $550,000 and one for $200,000. Those are sitting in the wings waiting for us to pay off the $500,000 bond we have in the water, okay? And we're about halfway through the 10-year payoff of that, all right? So when we talk about the water treatment plant upgrade, we still have about $1 million left to pay off from that. Whatever's left of the current $500,000 bond, the $550,000 ban, and the $200,000 ban. And so the request was, give us a rate for the first $4,000, and also what if you were to throw in there one or both of the bans that we have sitting there? And what would you do if it was a 10-year rate, a 15-year rate, and a 20-year rate? Okay. So based on that, Sarah just sent the letter out last week.
Correct.
And what one of the banks has asked is that we give them more time to just look at the finances to see what rates they could give us. And so I said to Sarah, let's do that, which is required Sarah to send out another letter to give them more time, to give them all the...
Yeah, I didn't get much of a response, so it makes sense to.
Right. So it's a big question, and again, they may just come back and say 10 years for the $400,000, that's all we're going to give you.
Right.
Maybe yet. But we're figuring while we're there, and given that we're right in front of when we expect rates to take off, it'd be nice to know at least whether we can or cannot afford to do, the bigger options. The bans we have, we can turn those over for 7 years. So you can say to the bank, I need to borrow, like we did to Bank of Millbrook, I need to borrow $550,000 to fund the rest of the water filtration project, but I can't afford to get a bond yet from you. I want a bond anticipation note. And if they agree to do that, that means we only have to pay interest for the first up to 7 years. at which point we gotta turn it over to a bond. Okay, what we're trying to do here is look and see if we can get ahead of the curve, if we can afford to get ahead of the curve by converting one or two of those bands into bonds. Okay, so it's kind of a complicated thing we're asking the banks, so for them to respond within a week is just not, you know.
Realistic.
Yeah,
Well, we heard rumor that rates are going to start going up.
yes.
Starting like next week. So that's why we were trying to get interest rates prior to that. But
So is it clear to the trustees what we're trying to accomplish there?
Yes.
It's kind of like a what-if scenario, and we may just default fall back to the basic $40,000, maybe for as low as 10 years. Which, by the way, we've accommodated in the budget when we put in $40,000 into the reserve. Okay, so that's like our default. And again, we're doing that in parallel with trying to go to FEMA to get some partial, if not up to 75% funding for the cost of this pump station and generator. And as you heard from Delaware Engineering, even if we put the order in today, there's like a year wait list to get the generator. Which is why we need to start putting this in place now, knowing that we will, you know, a year from now be able to, you know, start making the replacement. So, any questions on that, Scott? You're all clear?
Yep.
Okay, good. Trustees, everybody clear? I'll keep you posted what we're going to do there. Okay, thanks for that update, Vicki and Sarah. The last item here on new business is the AT&T antennas. So today we have antennas on the water tower for Verizon, for T-Mobile, and for the fire department. And so AT&T has come up and said they'd like to put their own antennas up there. And to us, it could mean up to like $40,000 of revenue a year, which is why I'm interested. But the caveat is they can't do anything that's going to damage the integrity of this beautiful water tower we just spent $500,000 refurbishing last year. And so the initial proposal was to put a tower, first they wanted to put a standalone tower next to the water tower. And based on talking to the neighbors, the answer there was no, it doesn't look right, we don't want that. Then they suggested putting a tower that was mounted in the middle of the top of the tank. And Delaware gave a lot of caveats and unknowns about doing that. And so I asked this week, why can't you guys just do what's already up there with the same kind of technology, just extend what we're already doing, which is working well. And so they're going to go back and look at that. So that's where we are with that. On top of that, they gave me an initial request for what the lease is that they're willing to pay, and they're off by about a factor of 4. So I told them either come back with a more serious number or stop your planning, because if it's not a legitimate, you know, financial remuneration to the village, we're not going to do that either. So that's where we are with that. Any questions about what we're going to do? Okay. All right, so with that, let's go to the public comments. Anybody in the public can make a comment? No? All right, let's go to board member updates. Deputy Mayor Contino.
The only other thing I have is we're also, we've also identified and are pursuing a grant opportunity also through FEMA, but a different program for reimbursement of COVID-related purchases. So we bought things like test kits, lots of PPE, some barriers, disinfectants, etc. And we're able to, if we are able to jump through the hoops, this one is not competitive. It's just if you're, you know, you do the application correctly, get our costs reimbursed going back to the beginning of the emergency, which I think was March 20th of 2020. So on this one, if we are lucky enough to be awarded the reimbursement, it is at 100%. And our expenses through June 1st are eligible. Right now, the declaration continues through June 1st. So that one I think we're going to pursue as quickly as possible. We're not anticipating any large expenses before June 1st. And again, Sarah and I have been doing not webinars, thank God, but WebExes with, you have to deal with the people at FEMA as well as the State Department of Homeland Security. So we've been doing both. And
So that's a separate program than the one that you're trying to get funding for.
Yeah, the first one is hazard
Yeah.
mitigation
And the total amount we're talking about for the code reimbursement is in the range of like 5,000.
Yeah, it's not a big amount, but it will help.
It's
And
a legitimate amount worth going after.
everything will help,
Yeah.
so. Yeah, so that's basically it.
Okay, questions about that? Okay. Trustee Arbogast.
I don't have much. Like you said, we met about the traffic code that Jared went over. The comprehensive plan review committee had their open house on the 26th. It was a snow date that was really successful.
It was very successful.
Yeah.
Well done.
And then they opened a virtual online open house as well for 10 days, and that is now closed. So they're going back, compiling the information that they received from the public, and they'll bring that to us, and then from that they'll put out a survey. So people should be expecting that sometime, hopefully in the next couple of months, the village and the town residents.
There was opportunities to give suggestions or even requests, right? And
Yes.
I was reading a few of them, and a couple of them, I was upset, but I was saying, what we're pointing to the village. So how are you going to give feedback to the village and the town on some of those things so we can actually make them into actionable items?
Right. So, of course, the comprehensive plan review committee is through the town. So once that is done, I believe that the town and the village, we're gonna have to sort of sit down together and sort of go over all of that information that has been compiled in regards to where people wanna see hospitality, where it's viable, and I think we will have to really discuss a lot of those, ideas and.
So is somebody taking all the suggestions and making them into a list of recommendations or something? Or
Yeah, so
okay.
what they're doing is they're compiling all the information, and from that information, they make a survey, and then from the survey, they get all that information back, and they take their report to the town board. And then from there, the town board will take that information and decide whether they're going to go forward, as far as amending the, I just went blank. What is that?
Comprehensive plan.
Thank you, the comprehensive plan, or if they're going to keep it as is, depending on what the public wants. And, but there's gonna be a lot of information in there in regards to the village as well, so that'll be shared with us. And then I think we have to take that forward and decide how we wanna use that information and how we wanna move forward with that information.
I always thought the comprehensive plan update was like a stepping stone towards the code update. And so, for example, one of the topics discussed there was Airbnbs. And what are we going to do to regulate Airbnbs? And we in the village should be right alongside the town in those discussions and
Yes.
updates to the code. We should be updating our code in the village coincident with what the town does.
Yes,
So that's a good example of where the village and the town need to work together
yes,
on this.
definitely.
But again, it's kind of like the step is first comprehensive plan update and then the code update.
Yes,
Right, so we've got some work to be done first.
yes.
Okay. All right,
It's a process.
Yeah.
So yeah, that was great, and that's all I have right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
thanks. Was there a follow-up? You asked us to post something on the website?
Oh, yeah, right.
Well,
Oh no, I was just asking. The Pride Committee was asking about possibly
oh, yeah,
shutting down
Pride Committee, right, okay, talk
Friendly
about that.
Lane in June for one day a weekend. They do not know when and what that would actually they would need to do in order to do that. You mentioned liability insurance.
So the request was for 2 hours on a Friday, I think. Was it a Friday or
Yeah,
Saturday?
I would say probably more like 4 hours by the time to get set up, break down. It would be on a Saturday or a Sunday.
You want to shut down Friendly Lane?
Just Friendly Lane from Franklin to Merritt to invite whoever wants to come. It's open to the whole community. And it's just, we don't know what we're doing. It's just an idea. They just wanted to see if it was actually possible.
Why'd you pick Friendly as opposed to down like Church Street between,
We just thought it was quieter.
Quieter, okay, all right.
It didn't have as much through traffic. It wasn't at a stoplight.
It seems more practical, actually.
yeah,
you know,
okay, it is, right.
That's the only reason. They were just thinking that, you didn't have to really worry about through traffic and all kinds of stuff. And then they're thinking in the, like 4 o'clock to 6 o'clock for the event, because most of the, activities for that weekend will be winding down. It'll be easier to park on Franklin Avenue. A lot of the shops close at 5,
All right.
so people can come in, you know. And it's just an idea, they haven't made anything.
So
You know,
Sarah,
any
is there any
decisions?
precedent we have that, like we have organizations come to us and they ask for assembly permits?
Yep.
Including some that want to shut down roads.
Yep.
So is
That
there
would
any-
be included in the plan for,
I'm sorry?
that would be, you would wanna include that in the plan when you do the public assembly permit.
Okay, so they need a public assembly permit.
Correct.
Yes.
Okay,
Yeah, so there's an application
okay,
and I can email it to whomever.
okay.
Yeah, and there's liability insurance, you have to indemnify the village against any accidents that occur there, any people that
Okay.
fall over or whatever. And you may want police, right, to man the patrol, man the barriers to keep the traffic out, I don't know. I guess that's a question for Jared.
Well, that would be, there would be fees for the police.
Yeah.
So just,
Yeah.
just be aware, so, but yeah, we would.
Is
we
it
would put that-
required?
I
It
don't
isn't
think so, I think it's optional unless we determine for the sake of ensuring that the traffic doesn't come in.
Sure.
Right,
We may say you need it, that's where Officer Witt would have to be
right.
told.
Okay,
All right, you want to talk to him yourself, just
Sure.
give us a second.
sure.
Other than that, I don't see any issues with that, do you? I mean,
Great.
anybody on the board have a question with that or comment?
No, I hope we can accommodate.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah, it's just an idea they were tossing around. I said I would ask, so.
Yeah.
Great.
Yeah, we shut down roads for like road races, right, when, when we with Jim and when a road race, we did that, so, not unheard of,
Okay,
so, yeah.
all right, I'll take it back to them. I'll
Okay.
have them go through the motions. Can we go through the motions even if we decide not to do it? That way we sort of have.
Yeah,
an
just to set it
idea.
up so you know how we're working in the
Yeah.
future, yeah.
Sounds great.
Okay, good.
Thank you.
Peter, anything on your mind?
Nothing for me this month. Mayor.
Very good. Okay,
Mayor, I have one thing.
yes.
So, you had asked me to attend a meeting at the library on their strategic plan
Oh, yeah.
and also the community forums. I don't know if any of you
I
participated.
sent those around to everybody, yeah.
Yeah, and it was very good, but the thing I do wanna mention is what came up in all the community forums that they held was the need and the desire of the community to have a community calendar of events, cause we don't any longer have a newspaper and people
Mhm.
feel like they don't even know when something good is going on. So apparently the library is now working with the business association to figure out a way to at least establish the calendar. The library actually thought about doing a newspaper and then they said, what are we thinking?
Sure.
But anyway, so the idea then would be, once they establish that template, we of course would have to do our part, we collectively, whole village, to make sure the events get to
Mhm.
that place so it can be published. And then they're gonna ask bigger organizations, including the village, if there's an ability to post it, because we all have different constituencies. So I thought that was a very positive thing, and
Okay.
I'm sure they'll keep us posted on developments.
The town actually has a calendar. I don't see that they use it that much, but I mean, they actually have a template on their website
They do,
of a calendar for putting in all events.
yes.
Well, we do too, but it's only our events.
We do?
Yeah,
Where?
on our website.
There's a calendar?
But it has our things,
Yeah.
not
Board
everything.
meetings,
Yeah.
the various boards.
Well, is it like there's a calendar of the 30 days of the month of March and,
Yes,
is that right?
Yeah, it shows the board meetings, I think the planning board, when the
you're the
building
mayor, you don't need
inspector's
to look
in.
at the calendar.
Okay. I guess I have a follow-up action item. Thanks for that. Okay, good. I have one other thing. April is Parkinson's Awareness Month. It is such, I would like to put into the record a proclamation from the village as follows. Whereas Parkinson's disease is a progressive neurological movement disorder of the central nervous system, which has a unique impact on each patient. And whereas according to the Parkinson Foundation, the American Parkinson's Disease Association, and the National Institute of Health, there are over 1 million Americans diagnosed with Parkinson's disease. And whereas symptoms include slowness, tremor, difficulty with balance and speaking, rigidity, cognitive and memory problems. And whereas although new medicines and therapies may enhance life for some time for people with Parkinson's, more work is needed for a cure. And whereas increased education and research are needed to help find a more effective treatment with fewer side effects and ultimately a cure for Parkinson's disease. And whereas a multidisciplinary approach to Parkinson's disease care includes local wellness, support, and caregiver groups. And whereas April has been proclaimed as Worldwide Parkinson's Awareness Month for all to recognize the need for more research and help in dealing with the devastating effects of Parkinson's disease. Now therefore, I, Tim Colopy, Mayor, do hereby proclaim April as Parkinson's Awareness Month in the village of Millbrook, the County of Dutchess, State of New York. Given under my hand in these free United States in the village of Millbrook on this day of 2022, into which I have caused the seal of the village of Millbrook to be affixed and have made this proclamation public. And I attest it as such. Okay? So with that, I'll sign this. Okay, with that, any final issues to bring up? Get a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Get a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much.